We'll call to order the Board of Zoning. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Here.
Amber Brown. Jerry Sartain.
Here.
Gary Farley. Renee Curtis. Patrick Hale. Zane Cantrell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Have the minutes of the last meeting before you. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes?
Move to be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to be approved. Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Mike Curtis.
Yes.
Amber Brown. Jerry Sartain.
Yes.
Gary Farley. Renee Curtis. Zane Cantrell.
Yes. Okay, the first item of business and the only item that we have is a request by Shianne Ashford, who is requesting an accessory dwelling unit that does not meet the design standards. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2024-29 involves the property at 118 Juliet Avenue. It's a request for special exception approval for an accessory dwelling unit that does not meet the design standards for ADUs involving property located in the RM, medium density residential zoning district. And the reason this application is coming before you, or this request, the property measures less than an acre, and that is the automatic requirement for special exception before someone could proceed with establishing an accessory dwelling unit. According to the applicant, the ADU had been established for several years prior to the purchase of the property by the applicant, although it is their intention to or hope to legitimize the use of the structure as an accessory dwelling unit. They indicate that the accessory dwelling unit will be occupied in accordance with the standards established for ADUs, with a plan to use the dwelling as an in-law suite in the future. And this was the result of, I believe that there was a permit being sought for some interior renovations, maybe electrical work, and it was discovered that it was finished as an accessory dwelling unit. It had a kitchen and a bathroom. And even though the structure had been there for many years, and you can look at the aerials, it's been at that location, and it's not even been used as a garage. I think it had a door to it. It was just a detached structure. The applicant had indicated that when they purchased the property within the last few years, it had already been used as a second dwelling. The applicant lives on the property. The structure has been converted from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, so that third bedroom is transferred to the accessory dwelling unit, and they have had inspections by TDEC and been approved by those for those inspections for the septic system. And so we did receive some calls seeking information about the application. We sent out notices within 1,000 feet and placed a sign on the property. And we do have someone here that would like to speak to the application, one of the neighbors in the area.
So Danielle, it meets, there's not been any problem with it. We're just making it official.
That's correct. It was brought to our attention not from a complaint, but they were seeking an electrical permit, or it was some kind of permit.
Well, we had an inspector who was out there doing another inspection.
Oh, okay.
On I think it was a porch or a deck they were adding onto the back, and when they noticed it, and they had a conversation with the owner, and that's when it all got started, you know.
Now, this is an aerial of the property. we posted a sign on the property. This is the structure in question. So we're not going to see any visual changes to the exterior. It's just the interior that's going to, that they're seeking approval for. And these are the surrounding properties. And that's the location of the ADU, as you can see. And this structure's been there for decades. It's just a matter of its use.
Gary had a question for you.
I've got a question, and probably better for Mark. Someone correct me if I misheard this, but the building was built as a two-bedroom. Is that right? When it was first built?
Well, I think what it was, the house was was probably a three-bedroom, and they did away with one of the bedrooms in the house so the ADU could have one bedroom and meet the total of a three-bedroom perk site, the way I understand. So as far as we know, it was never built past a one-bedroom because it's not that big.
But when it was built for the one bedroom, was there permits pulled on it at that time? And was it inspected per code? Does it meet code, basically, what I'm getting at, when it was built?
We've never done any inspections on it that I know of in the last several, as far as being ADU as whatsoever. Now, was the original garage ever inspected as a storage building? Be honest with you, Mr. Farley, I'd have to go back to the old records and see.
I'll be honest with you, if it was turned into a structure that people are spending the night in, I would feel uncomfortable just approving this for something like that when we don't know if it meets codes or not.
Right, okay. So I had spoken with Tanya regarding this because I needed to get some background when it was submitted. And for them to issue a permit to do the life safety inspections to determine that it meets code, they would have to get special exception approval first. So say, for instance, you approve the structure as an accessory dwelling unit, then that would prompt the applicant to pull the appropriate permit for the conversion of the structure into a dwelling unit, and the proper inspections would be conducted.
Okay, well, that eases my mind a little bit better. That something's going to be looked at to make sure that it is safe for people to occupy.
Absolutely.
I understand that's true. That's a good question. If we approve or say this is appropriate for it, then that doesn't mean that it's going to go through. It's got to be inspected.
Right, okay.
That's my understanding. Any other questions for our staff? Is anyone here representing this request? Okay, come around, please. Ashford, is that right? Okay. So just give us your name and any information you want to share with us.
My name is Shianne Ashford. I bought the home back in 2020, and the previous owner, who is now deceased, told me that he had a couple living in there for a while. And so I thought everything was good, everything was cool. I had my best friend move in. I bought the house while I was going to college, so I needed help with the rent. So I had my best friend move in there, and she's been living there ever since. She's been really quiet, hasn't been super disruptive to the neighborhood. Of course, the thing came up when I was building out my back porch. I opened up one of the bedrooms in the back to open up to the porch with French doors, and that's going to be an office. And we've already built out shelves in the closet so that there's no longer a closet there, so it can't be a bedroom considering. Any neighborly issues, I would say, probably is that I've done a lot of construction on my home since I've moved in. I had the driveway widened, and then I had to get brand new septic lines, and then of course we did cosmetic updates to the apartment before she moved in, and so there has been a lot of construction on my property in the past 4 years. I am done with that, though. that is all done. And so that's the only issues I can see from somebody else's standpoint. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Now, we'll open this for a public hearing. And I ask those of you who would like to speak to come to the podium, give us your name, and you have 3 minutes to talk. So be very specific. Do we have anyone? This is a public hearing. Come on around. Here. Yeah, speak into the microphone so everybody can hear.
All right, my name is Crystal Lopez. I live across the street. I do have a presentation. I do have these. When does my time start? Right now?
No.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to try and go fast. So my question is, I guess will you go ahead and switch it over to the next one, is it going to be like an in-law suite or is it going to be rented out? We've had issues in the past, my question is because it's already been listed for renting out on Zillow Rentals. It's on there even as current as October the 1st. My other question is the reason why my concern is, sorry, I'm getting so nervous. Okay, so I have safety concerns for my family and I because we've had renters and her previous renters that were there. There was one incident where someone had dropped a smoke alarm in our driveway, and I ignored it, didn't, whatever. Well, I guess it went off during the night. Me and my family were in our house watching TV, cooking. The kids are playing, and this guy from across the street that was renting out the thing, he comes pounding on our door and saying, he comes pounding on the door. My husband opens the door. I go and, my husband doesn't understand him, so I'm like, what's going on? What's wrong? And he's like, turn off, turn off the alarm, turn off the smoke alarm. Sorry. Turn off the smoke alarm. And I was confused, what is he talking about? And then he's like, the one that's in your driveway. And I'm like, it's, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he shows his gun and he says, I have a gun and I'll use it if I need to. And I said, just, just take it. I don't care. That's not even our smoke alarm, whatever. Just take it. So I quickly shut the door, and I'm in panic. I'm in shock, whatever. I should have called the police, never called the police, I guess we turn to the next one. And go ahead, yeah, and the other ones. And so my other safety concern is, they're always, blocking our driveway, renters, whatever. Most of the time, they're always blocking our driveway. I have, some pictures, when I'm trying to, the road is narrow as it is. When I'm trying to get out, I almost always have to find the owner of the vehicle to tell them if they can move their car since it's a tight squeeze. And we're trying to get out, and sometimes my husband, with his trailer coming from work, he has to reverse it into the driveway and, blocking the driveway. We're always having to tell someone if they can move their vehicle so we can get into our driveway. If there was ever an emergency, this provides a safety concern as every second counts. The emergency vehicles would be delayed in trying to enter and leave our residents to provide care and take to the hospital if needed, or even if I needed to take my kids or husband or myself to the hospital, there would be a delayed response time because of this. Our road is too narrow and a tight squeeze. Overall, I think their ADU will be continue to be rented out, and their renters and family and friends will park and block my driveway on our narrow road that hardly has space to park, and it will almost always block my driveway, leading to safety and blocking driveway and dealing with renters whom could harm my family and I. Also, the unknowns of if there will be an emergency and I'm blocked in my driveway. These are my safety concerns I have regarding this, and why I would prefer that it be opposed, as it already has its effects on me and my family, while occupants at 118 have been renting out the current ADU structure. And then yes, she continued. But those are some pictures throughout that we've had of that they've blocked our driveway, and we're trying to get in, we can't. We have to go, and so yes.
We understand a lot of this is not what we're dealing with here as we think about this.
Yes.
It's if you have a problem where somebody's blocking the street out there, you need to pick up the phone, call the sheriff's.
And I try, I guess, not to just, I guess, let it go, not to have issues, because even after that one incident, like, and I've done it before, or it's been like, even my kid, and this is going, but it's just like, I don't want it to be like retaliation, because there's been instances where it seems like, I don't know, I would rather not, all right, here's the sheriff's department, because I know I can do that, and say like,
Well, these
calling.
construction people, they know better than to block, so.
And it's not even, it's them, this was more recently, but then it's also been like other people, like from when they've had gatherings, when they've had whatever, it's always blocking, and we've had it even like whenever they came in, and we didn't, when the other guy, he lived there, and that was actually his man cave. He never had anybody living there in the other house, but the ADU. But that was his man cave, but we never had this issue, like, with him, so.
Thank you
But-
very much.
Thank you.
You may be seated. Anyone else? You come around at this time? Anyone else? Close the public hearing.
I will remind the board that our design and occupancy standards for ADUs are for family members only, and that's to be enforced.
The language just is family members and invited guests. That was the language that was put into the ADU regulations back in 2009 when we initially established it. So it's kind of a very broad
But if you're saying invited
limitation.
guest, the guest doesn't pay rent.
family members might pay rent. So we don't get into the collection of money and whether or not people exchange money. But it was the spirit of the ordinance, and it was intended to be just family members or like a guest house, to have guests come and spend time at your house. And the applicant, they do indicate that in the future they plan to use it as an in-law suite. I don't know what her plans are now, how she's using it, so.
I'm going to ask the question, and it probably shouldn't, because I had to leave the last meeting.
Right.
What is the similarity to the former request that was here before, that I had to leave the meeting, ended up in a tie? And how similar is this here? Because I'll be honest with you,
The similarities is where you're not here.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I want to be consistent.
Okay, so we see ADUs on less than an acre frequently. Every case stands on its own, so this neighborhood's completely different than the neighborhood that ended up in a tie last month. So
Danielle, if I may suggest, if we don't compare any other before us, let's just deal with this one and we'll deal with that one later. We've already voted on that when we proceeded. I just don't want to get into comparing two different decisions.
Mike, did you?
All right, what does the county attorney feel?
Probably better not to bring up ones that have already been voted on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion. Give us a motion on the floor.
Move it be approved with the stipulations that our standard ADUs have.
That's understood. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll give it a second.
Have a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mike Curtis,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Gary Farley,
Pass.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
So you passed on that, Mr. Farley?
Yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
passed. Any further business?
Yes, actually, we have a couple things. I have an announcement. If you would like to attend a training at Consolidated Utility District's facility off of 99 next week, Wednesday, the 16th, from 8 a.m. to 12, the Planning Commission is also attending this training, and it will be talking about water resources, as well as a presentation by Sheila, our Assistant County Engineer, regarding stormwater. And that is Wednesday, the 16th, between 8 and...
Would you send that to us in a text?
I certainly will send an email. And then Chairman Phillips would like to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the job that you guys do and the experience that's on this board. It's a pleasure to see you guys conduct business. On Thursday, the 24th, at the Lane Agri Center, Plan Rutherford will have an open house and discuss our future land use plan. It's an important meeting, and I would appreciate your attendance if you could possibly be there, because it is supposedly the final draft. There may be adjustments to that draft as a result of the meeting on the 24th. So 5:30 to 7:30, Lane Agri Park or Lane Agri Center. Of course, that's on John Rice Boulevard for those of you that are not there, but I think it's important that this board member attend, these board members attend and look at the final draft of our long-term land use plan called Plan Rutherford.
I'll be thinking about you.
If you got an extra seat, I'll go with you.